mission, dear Lord, help us as the citizens to stand behind them and encourage them to want to continue. For all these favors will be granted in praise. For Jesus' name we ask it. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order at 6:01.
Bob Brooks.
Here.
Doreen Klaus.
Here.
Christy McGehee.
Here.
Bobby White.
Here.
Okay, first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda as presented.
I would like to amend the agenda as for the adjourning time. We have the meeting on here as adjourned at 10:17. I think it was probably closer to 6:17.
Well, that's for the minutes.
Okay,
Not the
yeah,
agenda.
so
Oh, I'm
approval
I make a
of the
motion to
agenda.
approve the agenda.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Christie's made a motion to approve the agenda.
You got it.
I'll second.
And Bobby seconded. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, now I believe Bobby has a motion.
Yes. I'd like to adjourn, not to adjourn.
Wouldn't we all?
Okay,
Oh,
goodbye.
man, I'd like to change the adjournment time from 10:17 to, I believe, 6:17 on the minutes.
Okay, Bobby's made a motion that we amend the minutes to reflect a 6:17 p.m. adjournment time. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Dorian is seconded. All those in favor? 4-0. Anything else, council, for that? All right, we have a guest speaker today, Mr. Mark Bettis, reference a contract on land. So just to let everybody know, you all have the contract in front of you. And Mark talked to me about this first about 3 weeks ago.
About 2 months ago.
Well, that was back that. I mean, in the meeting when we talked about it, he talked to me about wanting to not, the next houses that he's building on that contract to not have to abide by the new building permit and code ordinances. And I told him that it was going to the city attorney and that we hadn't heard back yet, but he still wanted to address the council. So that's why he's here.
Thank you all for your time. We've been in business here since 1974, and we have a long-standing approval of this town. So I want to speak to you today regarding the contract that my company, Bettis Construction LLC, entered to the city of Granby on September the 11th of 2024. The purpose of the contract was to purchase the land from the city of Granby with the purpose of constructing 7 single-family slab homes. Since the contract was executed, Bettis Construction has been performing diligently to complete this project. One home has already been completed and sold. Another home is almost completed. Electricity has been installed to all the lots. Surveys have been done and all the, so I'm greatly invested into this project already. Since the contract's execution, Bettis Construction has been asked to apply to new building codes. That was not in place at the time. And we are not in a position at this time to incur any delays or additional costs on this project. Since the contract execution after a change of administration, the city of Granby is attempting to impose building codes and requirements and inspections procedures that did not exist at the time of the contract. And that ordinance is 952, which was passed on May 8th of 2025. The contract beyond specific outlines in which the acceptance of the proposal, which we are fulfilling. Section 12 of your contract, if you want to look at that, under litigation and adverse events. And I'm going to just read part of it, the part that pertains to here. It says, pertaining to the real estate property or change in zoning or building ordinance that affects this property or lease interest of seller is pending or to the best of the seller knowledge has been threatened against seller which could adversely affect the financial conditions of the prospective said property. The city has attempted to impose a newly exacted building code requirement which did not exist again at the time of the formation of this contract, impairing contract obligation and interference with contractual rights, enforcement of past contract requirement would violate the Missouri Constitution, protection, and the fundamental contract law principle. At this time, Bears Construction is requesting that we be grandfathered in and that we be allowed to complete our project under the terms originally agreed upon with the city of Granby. I have come before this meeting, this board, this meeting, as a first step to resolve this matter without litigation. However, if the city persists in this improper position, we will be forced to seek judicial relief. Our attorney has provided me with his legal opinion, and you all don't care, we have copies for everybody on this.
I'd like to see that. Thank you.
And that is all I have to say at this time. Thank you.
Okay, so Mark, as you know, on the one that you were building now, I did grandfather you and said that you didn't have to do anything. But on the next ones, what I said was that you could pass those inspection costs on to the buyer, which you're not under contract for any of the other homes. Is that correct?
That is correct, but it'd still be in violation of the said contract, and I'm not willing to violate the contract at this time.
Okay, so since I talked to you a couple days ago, I asked our city attorney to speed up and get his thoughts on this to me, and he got it to me today. So in his opinion, he doesn't see anything in the contract that precludes the city from enforcing new building codes or any construction that had not been started prior to the enactment of the code. If the last 5 had not been started when the code was passed, then he believes that the code applies. The contract itself only applied to the sale of the real estate, did not address any code compliance, platting, or specific construction.
But it did address zoning, and it did address building.
Yeah, but read the thing. It says at the time, it said, was there any liens or anything pending against the property at the time that you bought it? Like, that's a thing put in there so that you know that you're not buying a lemon from us, that we got somebody, that's got some sort of a lien on the property for.
Can I ask just one question? I'm not going to argue. I just have a legitimate question. This says for the completion in 2 years period. Is that going to be a viable solution? It says within a 2-year period on the paper your attorney gave us.
But we're trying to push for 2 years.
Okay, well, obviously, this will have to go to the city attorney to see if this changes his mind based on what your attorney said, so.
Can I also ask, what is the
Why would you not be willing to comply with ordinances to make a house as,
You were on the building,
Well, the building codes.
you were on the
read
committee.
that Where houses above building codes, and it's not that. It is
the principle?
Well, it's the principle, and it's also the way that the building inspector works. I mean, I've built lots of homes in small towns where you have just this exact setup. He is not a full-time building inspector. He comes and inspects after hours and on weekends. And then your building inspection, he has 3 days to comply. I dig a footing, weather changes in 3 days. And if I can't pour that footing whenever I dig it, then I may have to pull everything out, redig it, redo it. That's downtime. And whenever I have downtime, you have to understand it costs money because I put everything into this project. And it costs me $100 an hour for every hour of downtime we have. And I'm not willing to risk that. And you know, if he doesn't comply or come to that, if I don't hear from anybody in 5 days, then I can proceed. Well, that's 40 hours. You take 40 times 100, that's $4,000.
You're talking about something that hadn't happened.
I'm talking about the way it's set up. It could happen, and I'm not.
You sit on the committee that made the rules, Mark.
We all agreed to that. That was not acceptable with the building, the way the inspector was set up.
How do-
Every one of us agreed.
Okay, do you build homes in other towns?
Not now.
But no, that's not asked. Have you built homes in other towns
Did
where
you have to
you
get
had to
this?
have a building inspector come in?
Absolutely.
Okay, and how many days did they have to do that?
I would call them up, I say, I'm digging footings, I'm pouring this afternoon, they would come out within hours.
And this was in what towns?
This was in Neosho and Joplin.
Okay. Thank you.
We have hours, not days. That's the problem.
There hasn't been a single inspection done in the city yet. You don't even know if this guy's gonna be here in hours or
I
days.
know that you looked at the contract with you showed us the contract, what the building inspector, he allows 3 days to come to do the inspection. And if he doesn't comply within 3 days, then within 5 days, we can proceed without the inspection. That was a proposal
If I
that you
may,
put.
too, it has to do with the proposal and what we all agreed on in the first place.
Yes.
It wasn't building codes, there wasn't anything there, and it's not what we agreed on. And we want to go with the contract the way it's agreed, and that's what we are. And it's not
There's
like we
nothing in
don't
the
like
contract
Granby or
about it.
anything like that, love Granby, but that's not what we agreed on, and that's not the proposal we gave you, and that's, everything's different. So, and it could be a lot of extra cost and interference, especially when the police are called out and things like this to interrupt building.
I don't know what you're referring to.
Well, the police did show up.
Dustin has sent the police out twice from my job site.
Dustin hasn't sent the police
You
anywhere.
did. They
The-
told me you did, so that's fine.
They came out and checked to see if you had a building permit.
You sent them
I
out.
didn't send them out.
You did. That's what he said. He said, Dustin sent me out.
And you did.
So,
You
you
didn't
can, you know, I can just tell you what I know. That's all I can tell you.
It's just sad. It really is. We have a proposal, we have an agreement with the city, and it's just sad.
And if, you know, if I'd known it was gonna be like this, I had other options. And I
So-
would invest it.
So I recommend we definitely gotta send their
And
legal opinion to the city attorney before.
Yeah, because you have initiated this with your attorney, we of course have to send your documentation to ours. So, do we table this for the next meeting?
well, in the meantime, am I gonna be held up, or can I continue to build?
No, absolutely not. So you're good.
I continue to build.
I mean, go ahead and carry on like you've been carrying on. You're not building a third house right now, and
Yes, I
we,
am. I'm starting Monday.
okay, so,
We've
so,
got a time schedule to keep, and we're trying our best to keep it. I can't afford delays.
so continue with the third house, but we'll table the discussion until the next meeting. If, hopefully Phil can get back to us by then. So if he agrees with your legal opinion, then it's moot.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Hey, we appreciate,
No, no. Hey, we appreciate it. And we appreciate everything you've done. I mean, it's great. And let's just, yeah.
It's the ninth home I built in 4 years.
But you have to understand too, we know you build quality homes. I mean, you've got a long history of it. But what the building codes are for the ones that do not.
And everybody has
Apply
to.
it after this project.
The lawyer's gonna cost you more than the
But I've
permits.
already invested in this and changed the rules after I've invested thousands and thousands of dollars into this project.
Well, I'm open-minded on it. I just think we need to let the attorneys look at it and go from there.
Jamie, you dropped your pen. I make a motion that we table this to the July 24th meeting.
I'll second.
I've had a motion from Doreen that we table this meeting until the meeting on,
July 24th.
on July 24th. And and Bobby seconded it. All those in favor? Okay, 4-0. Okay, old business, discussion on the roof bids. All right, so, I got them all here.
I don't have mine. I didn't grab them.
But I wrote them all down too, so that you guys wouldn't have to.
Yes, I've got mine, but I've got some chicken scratch
I don't
here as
care.
well.
I can read chicken.
Okay. I have to read it.
Okay, so what I wrote down, which was a synopsis of the 4 bids, was that Camera Roofing put in a bid for the back. So there's really 3 bids. One for the back of the building to put in the wood skeleton that needs to go on the building, and then put the metal on the back. And then,
Metal soffit and siding.
right. And then the second bids were for the roof for City Hall, similar to the one that they put on the PD. And then the third bid was for the soffits and fascia back here on the south of City Hall that are falling out down here. Okay, so we got from Philip Camera, we got bids for all 3 things. He bid $6,250 for the back, $21,450 for the roof, and about $1,500 for the soffits and fascia on the south. And then we had John Cotton Roofing bid for the roof. They bid $17,546. And for the soffits and fascia stuff on the back wall, $48.88. And then there was a guy named the one that you can't read real well from Tweedy. All he bid on was the back wall, and that was for $48.15. And then Beasley Construction gave us the best bids overall for the roof. Almost half as much as Camera was $12,680, and then for the back, $2,500 for the whole back. So that was almost half of any of the other bids. And then the soffits and fascia bid, he hasn't finished that bid to send in, but he's out of town right now, so. I recommend we hold off on voting for that one. But Lana did say that she put all of this to cover this into the budget, the new budget that we voted on last month. So if we do it, if we can either do it, I mean, the options are to do it in pieces or to go ahead and grant it all to the company that bid lowest and just have them go ahead and knock it out.
It needs to be done. We've been waiting quite a while for this. Make a motion that we accept the low bid from Beasley Roofing.
Okay, did anybody else have comments before?
Can you tell me the amounts again, please?
So for the back, 2,500, and the roof was 12,680, and then we're still waiting on the one for the soffits and fascia. But I would imagine it would be
They
two,
come back like
two
it's
or less, yeah.
25,000.
Beasley does good work.
And you
Yeah.
know, he's local. He's been doing it around here for 40 years. He did that. He's the one that did the PD roof. He was the lowest bidder on the PD roof,
Okay.
and it came out really nice. So
Then I'd like to make a motion that we accept that not to exceed 17,000. And if it does, we can revisit
Okay.
that when the soffit bid comes in. But
Okay,
that way we can at
so-
least get it going.
Doreen's made a motion that we accept Calvin Beasley's bid for all three projects, not to exceed 17,000. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Christie has seconded the motion. All those in favor? Okay, 4-0, motion passes, and we'll let him know. Okay, so other old business, emergency sirens. So I did call Newton County Emergency Management and talk to them about the new narrow band versus wide band frequency. And what they said was, yes, people are converting to the digital narrow band. However, Newton County right now has just hired an outside contractor to come in and do a study for everybody in Newton County. So they're going around finding out everybody's status and then trying to roll it up into one big thing where they try and digitize the whole county at once. So her recommendation was not to do something now until we find out what we really need for us to nest our emergency system with theirs. So we've already approved the repair of the one emergency siren, and that's going to happen on the 15th of the month. They're coming to repair that. And then the other thing we were going to talk about on that, so the recommendation would be to hold off on the $8,000 for the upgrade of the controller systems until Newton County finishes their study. And then the $1,000, approximately $1,000 for the annual maintenance contracts, I would recommend that we go ahead and do that one. And that includes inspections on structural integrity, inspections on cabinets and enclosures, inspections on electrical conduits and fittings, everything exterior on it, operating amperages and acoustic qualities of the siren, grease and oil necessary components, check belts, check and align the radio receiver, relay contacts, testing the siren locally and via the dispatch controller, and any additional maintenance as recommended by the manufacturer. Obviously, if something's broken, they would have to check with us and invoice us for a replacement, but basically they would just be greasing and oiling everything and making sure it's all set every year. And that's a $1,425 per year, which could be reduced by $450 if we provide a boom when they come and do that, which I believe we're able to do, correct? So the amount would be about $1,000 per year. if we could get no more than $1,000 probably would do it. And that's really the only one that we would need to vote on tonight.
On the
Is for
contract for
the
this.
maintenance, the annual maintenance contract.
You need a motion?
Please.
I make a motion that we enter into the contract with Table Rock Alerting Systems in the amount of not to exceed $1,000, providing we have the boom available when they come to check our equipment.
Okay, I have a motion by Doreen to enter into a contract with Table Rock Alerting Systems to do an annual maintenance on our 3 emergency sirens, not to exceed $1,000 per year. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Bobby has seconded. All those in favor? 4-0. All right, so the annual maintenance program for the generators, I talked to Lana about that today, and she's not ready to talk about that. She still has a vendor that she's talking to about it. So what she did was thought that the amount that they were charging was too much, so she wanted to go to a couple other places and find out if they were lower bids than the
On
one
what?
that we currently got.
On
the
what?
the generator maintenance contract.
Okay.
So if we could move that to the next meeting, that would be best.
It's not on our agenda. Oh, the maintenance portion.
I think that that's the maintenance program.
Okay. I'll make a motion, we table the maintenance portion of that discussion to July 24th.
Okay, I've had a motion by Doreen to table the generator maintenance program discussion until the 24th.
Second.
And Christie seconded. All those in favor? 4-0, motion carries. All right, bills to pay and balances on hand for new business.
Sandra, do we have the credit card statements of what was paid on those First National?
Is that one?
I can get them. They are, we do have them.
What's removal of an erosion
I
net?
was wondering the same thing.
It was, Jim, and correct me if I'm wrong, it was a net that was put up. It was not supposed to be put up out there as part of the sewer project when they were doing, after they'd cleared land or something?
Yeah, they put it down to keep dirt from washing. And part of the erosion control, yeah.
But it was on someone's property, they put it on someone else's property? Yeah, and they put it on a resident's, property that lives down there by the sewer thing, and she wanted it to be taken out. Her horses were gonna eat it and get choked.
Hung up in it.
Interesting.
Is there not a breakdown of this, Sandra? This might take me a while.
I don't believe there's a breakdown.
Then I'm not gonna be able to approve it.
Which one is that?
The credit card payment?
I just have to say, I like the City Hall sign that's out there.
Yeah.
That looks good. What is this utility deposit refund?
That is when we, someone turns off service.
Yeah.
So we take it, apply it to their account, whatever's left, we send back to them
We
on
have
their deposits.
1561.42.
It should be 151.
$1,561.42. The UC account, it's on page 5. Okay.
That is the correct amount. That was for all of the accounts that were closed last month until the timeframe. And so we take the money, we credit the account, and what's left, we return to the,
Thank you.
So it's
It's
both
just,
going into the,
so it's just a consolidation of
yes.
everything.
It moves from one account to another account.
Okay.
And it was Lana's recommendation that we roll over all those CDs that you have that are coming up for renewal.
And the employee shirts for $950, does that include the purchase of the shirts or just the printing on them?
She got 90
How much were the shirts?
$3 a piece. I think, I've heard them say that they're $3 a piece.
So $1,200? Who approved that purchase? Was there a discussion on it?
I don't
I
know.
mean, we buy shirts for the guys every year, right?
100 of them?
It was for the fire department as well as for,
Oh, the fire department. and-
How many people got shirts?
they're separate?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh, s-
I apologize, they're separate.
So we have a surplus of t-shirts?
That's wild.
That is correct. And then there's extra to reuse later.
So we're using 36 shirts, but we bought 95?
I think just to have, it was cheaper to buy the bundle than it was to buy them individually.
So you buy 3 times as many as you need to get a deal?
What's is not a deal?
I don't have any problem with buying the shirts, other than the fact that I think it was an extreme amount. I mean, and you could always get them printed later, rather the $950 worth of printing.
I think that should have just been discussed instead of just jumped on, my opinion.
I agree,
I will make a note on that.
if you would, please.
Sandra, can I ask you to get the, all the expenses that the concession stand had for this year as well? Because, I mean, I can't really see what's on this credit card statement.
Okay.
But I'd love to have
You want a
a
breakdown on what?
breakdown of every time we purchase anything for the concession stand, and then the amount that we turned in every evening after a game. Because I was told we didn't make any money, and if that's the case, I'm not wasting my time down there again if we can't make a profit, and we busted our hump down there. So
So you want the total spent in concessions and the total
I want
made?
receipts.
Okay.
I want receipts, and if you have all the copies of what we turned in every evening, I just want to check through that.
Okay.
Are the certificates part of the bills to pay and balances on hand as well? Okay, because I looked through these, and there's only a few that indicate where they're from. They don't all say, this one says Summer Ball Committee, Fire Department, but they don't all have. Not that I saw. Did you see them? A lot of them just say City of Granby, but are they indicating going to,
I think the first one says, and then everything
yeah,
after that.
Fire Department, Sewer, and then, there's one for Summer Ball, and then the rest, I don't see any, where they indicate what they're for. Am I wrong? I mean, it's happened multiple times, I'm sure. I just think that needs to be a little more clear for us to know where.
Yeah, so just figure out what each one of those CDs is,
Okay.
I mean, they mature before the next meeting, so we just need to check and,
Okay. Can I email everyone when I get that figured out and just get it sent, or get it
Please.
ready to send out?
Do you have anything? I'll make a motion that we approve bills to pay and balances on hand pending the issues that we've discussed in this meeting.
okay, so Doreen's made a motion to approve the bills to pay and balances on hand pending a few issues. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
And Bobby seconded. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, next item on the agenda is department head reports.
Murphy, thank you for all you did this weekend. I know that we heard a few rumblings about starting late on fireworks, but after it all went over, I think it was well received, so we appreciate your rush back to get those started and on track. And the parade as well, thank you for that.
Hey, just for my edification, TA is traffic accident on your report, and MA is what?
Mutual aid.
Mutual aid.
And Jim, your boys that did our honey-do list and took care of it within the short amount of time. That's okay, tell me what they said, because if they can't say it to my face, we're not friends.
I think I bossed them the most, so. I was really bossy.
They did anything we asked and went above and beyond on anything that I asked as well. I don't know about Christy, but
I bought Caleb lunch today, so.
and Deno, tell your cohorts that we appreciate them as well. And can you talk about the abatements? Do you know anything that's going on with those?
I will try to answer as much as I can about it. Mike's been through. Try to get it.
My question is just, are we getting things cleared up? I know there's several that say that we're pending. Did they get resolved by July? I mean, I'm looking at May and June. So, they say still pending, so.
I think we're getting there, and we have a couple people just pretty much receive some of their capital review resolutions, something they go to the bank. So those could be classified as pending. I think we'll make progress.
Okay. Well, he's been busy, that's for sure.
Who's in charge of mowing like the drainage ditches and stuff? Are we required to do those, or are they just allowed to be real tall? Like the one on Main Street like. Okay. Possibly.
We, as property owners, are responsible for those.
Okay.
We
I just
mow our
wanted to check.
ditch on Bee Highway,
I
we
just
do
wanted
ours.
to check, because if it is our responsibility, then we can't be writing people tickets if we have weeds.
Right. So now wait, so like Wolf Creek, like a creek or something running through a property, the stuff growing up there, that is the owner's responsibility. But on the side of B Highway, E Highway, 60 Highway, MoDOT till where? Where does the right of way? Most people mow their own, like you were just saying.
Yeah.
Most people mow their own, but we can't write tickets or we can't do abatement notices for people that leave them high, because that's technically the state.
It goes to the utility right away, so you always look at where those poles and utilities are, so they're only just X amount of feet out from the side of the house.
Usually onto the other side of the ditch.
Usually the telephone poles.
I was just wondering, because like, that looks terrible.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Got
what
it.
happens when MoDOT doesn't do their share?
We call them and they tell us that they're busy. Like I did twice last week.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I know he called them 2 weeks ago, I called them last week. We were hoping to get it done before my town days, but they had issues.
Which you guys did do a bunch
So
that
they
you
don't know
shouldn't
how to
have
follow a
so
honey-do
I
list.
appreciate that.
So on these abatements, are they given 90 days to
It,
take care of it? Is that?
Pending.
it depends.
You have X amount of days for grass, X amount of days for trash. We initially started giving them 90 days out of the gate early because it was winter time for trash and
Right.
things like that.
He gives them 30 days for grass and then follows up in 2 weeks. So he gives them 30 days total, but 2 weeks after that, he drives back by and just,
Follows up.
and follows up, just to,
Almost everybody is compliant with it, so it's, I was talking about today.
yeah, most of the grass stuff will fall. If there's a resident at the home, most of them will get it done, but it sounds like if it's a vacant lot or something like that, those are the ones that might go over 30 days.
The crumbling wall at Granby House, that's been discussed
Yeah, I saw that on there.
several times.
Yeah.
That's been a long issue for
Right.
Yeah, it's been crumbling for a minute. I was trying to think of what Martin said about it. I was trying to quote Martin on it, but I don't remember what he said. I'll have to look back.
Jim, how many guys do you normally send for water repair? Does it take 3 guys to do one water repair? Yeah. I'm just asking. I'm just asking. You guys have anything to add to us? Victor? Okay.
Can you give do you have, has the guy told you when on the SCADA maybe, or a week, 2 weeks?
No, he hasn't given me his deadline, finishing date.
But everything's running like it's supposed to?
Yes, yeah.
You have no complaints? I'll make a motion, we approve the department head reports.
John Reed's made a motion that we approve the department head reports.
Second.
Christie seconded. All those in favor? 4-0. Okay, next item on the agenda is the public comment time. I don't believe anybody signed up. Anybody here for public comment? Okay, and no other items on the agenda. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we dismiss.
Doreen's made a motion that we dismiss,
I'll second that.
and Bob has seconded that motion. All those in favor? 4-0. Meeting is adjourned at 6:51.
Not 10.